Welcome to Learn Commerce PU online classes. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Hello my dear students, welcome to economics online classes. So in the previous chapters we are discussing about the statistics for economics. In that two chapters we already learnt. First chapter is introduction to statistics for economics. Second chapter is collection of data. Let us study organization of data. This is the third chapter in the statistics for economics. So already we learned what is statistics, meaning of statistics, definition, scope, importance. Even we studied what are the main ways of collecting the data, primary data, secondary data, and what are the methods of collecting data, telephone interview method, personal interview method, mailing questionnaire method, all those things we studied in the previous chapter. So after those data were collected, what is the next step? How these data are to be organized or arranged. So how we are going to understand that particular information through the collected data, that is very important. So organization of data is very essential. Organization of data is nothing but, students, proper arrangement of collected data. Proper arrangement of collected data is said to be the organization of data. Why this organization of data is needed means to bring order to the raw data. So earlier whatever the data we collected just in the raw manner. So to overcome from the problem, what we required the solution, to see that particular solution we have to make them in a proper arrangement. So making them in the proper order or bringing order to the raw data is said to be the organization of data. Thus, in this chapter we are going to cover the topics: introduction, raw data, variable, types of variable, frequency distribution and types of frequency distribution. So types we are going to study the univariate frequency distribution, bivariate frequency distribution and multivariate frequency distribution. So let us see the introduction part to the organization of data. So proper arrangement of data is needed to understand the concept and to give proper solution to the particular problem in an economy or society. For example, suppose I collected the information regarding the marks scored by the students in an economics examination. So think that there are 100 students in a class. 100 students marks I will write in the rough figure. For example, I can make a column and I can write the marks in a rough manner. For example, I can write the marks of the students like scored marks 50, 60, 40, 30, 25, 16, 26, 56, 86, 90, 100, 0 or 26, 35, 77, 79, like this I can write the marks of the students scored in the economics examination. So just I written these marks. These marks are in the rough manner. I never arranged properly, either ascending or descending order. So it is highly difficult to see the marks and make comparison. So comparison is very essential. I want to see the topper in the class. I want to see who are the below average, above average and average students. To see that we should make proper arrangement. So this is in a rough manner, means raw data. These data are said to be the raw data. Just I collected the data, just I collected the marks of the student. I collected the marks in a random basis. So either there is no ascending order or descending order. Just the marks scored by the students is there 50, 60, 40, 30, 25, 16, 26, 56, 86, 90, 100, 0, 26, 35, 77, 79, 70, 71, 72, 69, 55, 54, 36, 89. Like these marks are there. Just I collected the marks in the rough manner. So it is very highly difficult to know who is the topper and what is the marks of the lowest students, average students. So for this purpose, to know the proper whatever the data and proper manner, we should classify these datas. We should classify these datas on the basis of average, above average, below average, either in the form of descending order or ascending order. Here mark 0 is also there, 100 is also there. So through the classes we are going to arrange the datas. Thus proper arrangement of data is essential to see the particular problem and to give the solution to the particular problem. This is just the example for raw data. So let us see what is raw data. I said I collected the just information in the rough figure, so it is said to be the raw data. Let us see what is the meaning of raw data. Raw data is nothing but, students, it is unclassified data. Unclassified data. By the name itself you came to know, data is never classified, either in the ascending order or descending order. Whatever the marks I collected, directly I presented in a rough manner in a table. This is the example for raw data. Just whatever I collected, same as it is I written. There is no any proper arrangement like ascending order or descending order. Thus, while we are collecting the data and keeping as it is, it will be very difficult to handle. Thus, unclassified data are said to be the raw data. They are highly disorganized. They are highly disorganized. Raw data are highly disorganized. It means they were not arranged in the proper manner. If the data are highly disorganized, like this marks scored by the students in economics examination, I wrote as it is how the marks scored by the students, never made them or classified as average, above average, below average. It is very difficult to find the slow learners or toppers and middle average students. Those unclassified data are said to be the raw data or rough data. So what are the characteristics of this raw data? The raw data are unclassified data. They are highly disorganized. They are not properly organized. It is difficult to handle. So these raw data are very difficult to handle. Very difficult to handle. So it is necessary to bring order to such a raw data in the either ascending or descending order. To make the proper conclusion to our particular problem, it is necessary to bring order this raw data into the proper arrangement is required. That is through the organization of data. So in this chapter we are going to study how the raw data to be classified in the various types of classification. So through the various types of classification, it is easy to classify the raw data into the proper order. Thus, raw data is nothing but it is the unclassified data. So they are highly disorganized in character. So it is very difficult to handle the raw data. Thus, organization of this raw data is very essential to overcome from the problem of whatever the disorganization. Thus, let us see what is the organization of data and meaning of organization of data. So as I said, to overcome from the problem and to give the proper conclusion to the raw data, organization is needed. Yes. Thus, organization of data refers to arrangement of figures, figures nothing but numbers, arranging the numbers in the proper manner is said to be the arrangement of figures in such a form that comparison of the mass of similar data may be facilitated and further analysis may be possible. Why the organization of data is essential means to the arrangement of figures in such a manner means arranging the figures either in the ascending or descending order and to facilitate and to classify the similar data. So it is essential to compare the data and to classify the similar data in the particular manner. For example, books in a library. If the books are arranged properly according to the subject, for example, science students, commerce students. Science students either physics is there, chemistry is there, maths is there, biology is there, computer science is there. So the books are arranged in a proper manner. For example, physics books in a one row, chemistry, maths, biology, computer science, or in another row, commerce books, that is history, economics, computer science, or accounts, business. Like this, books are arranged in the proper manner means it is very easy to identify the particular book and pick the particular book from the particular rack. So this rack is science and this one is commerce. It is very easy to identify the books in a library. Arrangement of the books in a library is best example for organization of data. If these books are not at all arranged or organized, so science books will mix up with the commerce, commerce will mix up with the science. It will be waste of time to even the students and teachers. Thus, proper arrangement of data will save our time and energy and it will give the meaningful conclusion to the particular problem, and to identify the particular solution to the problem, proper organization of raw data is needed. Thus, arrangement of books in the particular racks in a library is the best example for proper organization of data. Science books and commerce books separately you can make arrangement. By that it is very easy to go and study with the materials whatever required. If the physics needed, only the physics rack is containing physics books, and even the maths required, maths rack is there. So with the label there they were going to keep the books as maths. There is a label. By seeing the label you can go and search the maths book and you can pick the whatever the books required. So this is said to be the proper classification. So proper classification will save our energy and time, and it will very easy to arrange the data in the proper manner, and it is easy to handle the any difficult situations. Thus, organization of data refers to arrangement of figures in such a form that comparison of the mass of similar data may be facilitated. It means whatever the similar data, as I said, arrangement of books in a library, PCMB, physics, chemistry, maths, biology. It is easy to make find the particular books, whatever the books required. For example, physics related journals, physics related books, physics related any kind of materials. Only the physics rack is having the physics books. So one can go through the physics and they can pick the book whatever he required. Thus, it will be very easy to find the books and whatever the solutions can be made with the particular arrangement. Thus, raw data is nothing but unclassified data. They are highly disorganized and they are very difficult to handle. Thus, it is very essential to bring order to raw data through the classification and organization. Thus, proper arrangement of raw data is said to be the organization of data. In simple manner, organization of data refers to proper arrangement of raw data. Thus, organization of data refers to arrangement of figures in such a form that comparison of the mass similar data may be facilitated and further analysis may be possible. If the data are arranged properly, then it is easy to make comparison and it is easy to make further analysis. Further analysis is nothing but results, final results. It is easy to give the final results. Thus, organization of data is very, very essential. So, next is variable. What is variable? So, as we know that variable means change in the economic facts or values said to be the variables, as I said in the previous chapters. So, here variable means how the variables are differ from one variable to other variable, changes in the facts. There are two types of variable, students. One is continuous variable, other one is discrete variable. Discrete and continuous variable. Discrete variable. Second one is continuous variable. Continuous variable. Discrete variables are nothing but the values which jumps from one value to other value. Value which jump from one value to other value. Values jumps from one value to other value. How the values jumps means, for example, as I wrote here raw data in the previous what I wrote, raw data, unclassified data. Here you can see the data are not in the proper order, either descending or ascending order. Just the data I wrote 50, 60, 40, 30. Value jumps from one value to other value. One value to other value. You can see here. Value 50 to 60. Value jump from one value to other value. There is no any continuous order 1, 2, 3, 4 like that numerical values. No. Thus, value which is jump from one value to other value, there are no integral values, that is said to be the discrete variables. Variable in which value jump from one value to other values. For example, marks scored by the students in economics in a monthly test. Out of 50, 50, 40, 30, 0, 25. See here, no values are in the continuous manner. Value jump from one value to other value. One value to other value. So, by this you came to know that value which jump from one value to other value said to be the discrete variable. By the name itself you can see there is no continuity in the variable, discontinuity in the variable. Discrete is nothing but discontinuity in the variables. What is continuous variable? By the name you can see the value which may be in the continuous order. For example, either in the integral form, root of 2, root of 4, root of 25, root of 100, like this. Values which are in the continuous order are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Value which comes one after another is said to be the continuous variable. Variable which occurs one after another is said to be the continuous variable. Thus, discrete variable is discontinued variable and continuous variable is the values which is continuous in order is said to be the continuous variable. So, there are two types of variables, continuous variable and discrete variable. Let us move to the classification of data. Classification of data. How these raw data are classified and bring them into order. There are four main ways to arrange the classification. So, through the classification, it is very easy to organize the raw data into particular manner in a particular order. So, next is classification. Classification brings raw data into order. Classification brings raw data into particular order. So, there are mainly four classifications. First one, geographical classification. Geographical classification. Second one, spatial classification. Sorry, chronological classification. Spatial and geographical one and the same. Chronological classification. Third one, qualitative classification. Qualitative classification. Fourth one, quantitative classification. Quantitative classification. So, classification of data brings order to raw data. To order the or make arrangement to the raw data, it is very essential to classify the data in the particular manner. Why this classification of data is essential? For the purpose of simplicity, for the purpose of utility, what we can use, like that you can use. Thus, on the basis of utility, on the basis of comparisiveness, on the basis of stability, data are classified into 4 on the basis of 4 main classification. They are: first one, geographical classification, second one, chronological classification, third one, quantitative, and fourth one is qualitative classification. Let us see what is geographical classification. Geographical classification is nothing but, students, classify the data on the basis of particular location or geographical area, or it is also called as spatial classification. Geographical classification is also called as spatial classification. Geographical classification or spatial classification. Classification of data on the basis of particular place, locality or particular state, like that, on the basis of geographical region. Classification of data on the basis of geographical region is said to be the geographical classification. Next is chronological classification. Classification of data according to the time is said to be the chronological classification. Classification of data according to the time period is said to be the chronological classification. Kalanukramanike anta helteve. So, on the basis of year, quarter, monthly, or on the basis of weekly, daily basis, classifying the data on the basis of time period is said to be the chronological classification. It is also called as time series classification. Time series classification of data. So, chronological classification means comparison is made on the basis of time period. For example, population of India from, we can take the table form, population of India, heading is population of India according to the census, according to the different year, census of different year. So, population and year and population, they are the variables, as I said, x variable and y variables. Year and population is said to be the variables, x variable, y variable. Year in the x variable, population in the y variables. So, we can take the years 1951, 1981, 1991, 2001, 2011. Like this, we are going to take the different years. On the basis of this, what are the data according to the census of India? 1951, 35.1 crores. 1981, it may be the 68.3 crores. 1991, it may be the 83.1 crores. 2001, it may be 101.1 crores. 2011, 121 crores above. 121 crores above. Like this, see here. So according to the population of India given on the basis of census of India, so census given the record on the basis of different time period. Population, we can see the population of India, analysis results you can see. So you can make the comparison from in which year maximum population is maximum and in which year population is minimum. For example, in 1951 population of India is 35.1 crores. Compared to the 2011, population is highly increased from 35 to 121 crores. By the result, you can say population of India increasing enormously from 1951 to 2011. So what it shows means over growth rate of population or population explosion in India. How it is possible to see the result means through the statistical analysis, through the chronological order of collection of data. Once data is collected, that should be classified on the basis of chronological order or through the time period data is collected, then it is said to be the chronological classification of data. Different years you can see here, comparison can be made, results can be seen. Thus proper arrangement of data will give the proper results through the classification. Classification bring order to the raw data and give solution to the particular problem, and it is very easy to present the data and understand the data in the particular manner. Next is qualitative classification of data. Classification of data on the basis of quality or attributes. Quality or attributes are said to be the qualitative classification of data. For example, here all the data are not easy to classify quantitatively. For example, through the quantitative manner, year. All the data are unable to classify through the year. Education of a person, we cannot classify in a year. So, for example, suppose in your area, how many people are educated, uneducated. It is not possible to classify how many members educated, uneducated, male, female, like that. Qualities of a certain category we cannot make in a quantitative figures. Thus, qualitative classification of data is nothing but classifying the data on the basis of attributes or quality. For example, classifying the data on the basis of educated, uneducated, educated, uneducated, men, women, skilled, unskilled, skilled, unskilled, then married, unmarried, male, female, etc. So these things it is difficult to classify on the basis of numbers. So on the basis of certain quality we are going to divide or distribute the data, that is said to be the qualitative classification. Classification of data on the basis of attributes or quality is said to be the qualitative classification. Example, educated, uneducated, men, women, male, female, married, unmarried, then skilled, unskilled. Like that we are classifying the data on the basis of particular quality is said to be the qualitative classification. Next one is quantitative classification. Same example I will take population of India. On the basis of certain quantity, quantitative manner we are going to collect the data and classify them in a quantitative manner. For example, in the different years, what is the food production in India? You can see the wheat production in India in the different years. So different years representing the quantity. Thus, classification of data on the basis of quantitative figures or quantitative manner, then it is said to be the quantitative classification of data. So there are basically four main classification of data. One is geographical classification, second one is chronological classification, third one is qualitative classification, and fourth one is quantitative classification. Geographical classification is nothing but classification of data on the basis of geographical location is said to be the geographical classification. The name is also given as spatial classification, and chronological classification is also said to be the classification of data according to the time period or time series. Thus it is also known as time series data or time series classification of data. Qualitative classification means classification of data on the basis of attributes or quality said to be the qualitative classification, and quantitative classification means classification of data according to the certain quantity or quantitative manner is said to be the quantitative classification of data. These are the four main ways to classify the data. So to bring order the raw data into order, it is very essential to classify the data in the different manner. Then it is easy to arrange the data in the proper manner. So next class we are going to see the frequency distribution and types of frequency distribution. In the previous class we studied regarding the organization of data. In that we covered the topics introduction, raw data, variable, even the classification of data. Let us look at the frequency distribution. What is the meaning of frequency distribution and what are the types of frequency distribution? So in the frequency distribution, first we should know what is the meaning of frequency. Frequency means you know the values or numbers which is repeated many times are said to be the frequencies. Frequencies are nothing but numbers. So frequency distribution of quantitative variables we are going to study here. So this frequency distribution is essential to bring order the raw data into proper arrangement. So frequency distribution. Frequency distribution. So frequency means values or numbers. Values or numbers. Frequencies, frequently repeated values. Frequency means we are going to see the frequently repeated values. Most of the time which values occurs, that we are going to study, whether the values or numbers in the distribution. Thus this frequency distribution is essential to classify the data in the particular manner. So how we are going to see the frequency distribution? There are 2 or 3 types of frequency distribution. One is univariate distribution. Second one is bivariate frequency distribution. Univariate, bivariate and multivariate frequency distribution. Multivariate frequency distribution. So the types of frequency distribution, first one is univariate frequency distribution, second one is bivariate frequency distribution, third one is multivariate frequency distribution. Distributing the frequencies for the single variable is said to be the univariate frequency distribution. Frequency distribution for single variable is said to be the univariate frequency distribution. Frequency distribution for single variable is said to be the univariate frequency distribution. Frequency distribution for two variables are said to be the bivariate frequency distribution. By the name you can see uni means single, bi means more than one, that is 2. Thus multivariate frequency distribution means frequency distribution for more than 2 variable is said to be the multivariate frequency distribution. By the calculations in the upcoming classes you came to know in detail what is univariate and how the univariate classification is made, how the bivariate classification is made and how the multivariate classification is made. Thus in the frequency distribution we are going to study how the distribution is made with the help of the frequently repeated values. Distributing the values through the frequencies. For example, here we are going to study what is class midpoint. Class midpoint. To calculate the frequency distribution we need what is frequency, meaning of frequency, then what is class midpoint, and class limit, what is class limit, and types of class limit. There are two types of class limit. One is upper class limit and one more is lower class limit. Upper class limit and lower class limit. Lower class limit. So the upper class limit and lower class limit are the two types of class limits. Class interval, meaning of class interval you should know. Class midpoint, class mark. Class mark or class midpoint, one and the same. So let us see what is class midpoint. Frequency means I said number of times values repeated in the distribution or in a series is said to be the frequency, either values or numbers, one and the same. Class midpoint. To find the class midpoint, there is a one formula. Upper class limit, class midpoint or class mark is equal to, class midpoint and class mark one and the same, students. Upper class limit plus lower class limit divided by 2. Formula to find class midpoint or class mark is upper class limit plus lower class limit divided by 2. For example, I will give you the one class interval 0 to 10. Class interval is like this, see you, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50. So now see here, these are the class intervals. Frequencies I will give. Marks scored by the students means you can see according to the marks 0 to 10. Students scored marks is 0, 1, 5, 3, 6, 4. Here you can take 20 students. Marks scored by the 20 students in an examination. Frequencies are numbers which is scored, marks scored by the student. So now see, total n is equal to 20, number of observation is 20. Number of observation is 20. Frequencies are the numbers which occurs in a raw data or classification. Thus, here you can see the upper class limit and lower class limit. Upper class limit and lower class limit. So, what is upper class limit means? You should see the values which is the right side of the class interval are said to be the upper class limits. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Either you can write first lower class limit and you can write the upper class limit. Lower class limit are the those items which comes left side of the class intervals or lower limit 0, 10, 20, 30, 40. So these are the lower class limit. Lower the values are said to be the lower class limit and upper values or highest values are said to be the upper class limit. Lowest values are lower class limit and highest values are said to be the upper class limit. To find the class mark or midpoint, you should find the class mark now, or it is said to be the midpoint. As I said, you should use the formula upper class limit plus lower class limit divided by 2. 0 lower class limit, upper class limit is 10, lower class limit is 0 divided by 2. That is 10 by 2. 10 by 2 is 5. So you can see the middle value 0 to 10, middle most value is 5. Thus class mark is 5. Class mark is 5. So the formula to calculate class midpoint is upper class limit plus lower class limit divided by 2. Why there is 2 is there divided by 2 means here the observation is there, upper class limit and lower class limit, in between there are two values 0 to 10. So upper class limit plus lower class limit divided by the two values, you are dividing by the two values, thus class limit is 5. Next is same as I did in the first, 10 plus 20 divided by 2. Upper class limit is 20 plus lower class limit is 10 divided by 2, this divided by the 2. 30 divided by 2, that is 15. That is 15. Thus class midpoint is 15. 10 to 20 class midpoint is 15. Either the numbers are in the continuous order like the simple class intervals, it is easy to calculate, no need of calculating for all. First one you are going to calculate means easily you can calculate. If the numbers are in the comprehensive manner are difficult, it is very essential to use the formula to calculate midpoint, that is upper class limit plus lower class limit divided by 2. This one you can understand, 20 is there, middlemost value 20 to 30 is 25, 30 to 40 is 35 and 40 to 50 is 45. Easily you came to know. In case of numbers are not in the continuous order, either the discrete values are there or inclusive or in the exclusive method, then you are going to use the formula to find the class midpoint or class mark, that is upper class limit plus lower class limit divided by 2. Upper class values are the highest values, it lies right side of the class intervals. These lower class limit are said to be the lowest values which lies left side of the class intervals. Frequencies are the number of n is number of observation, frequencies are the values which repeated in the class interval. So 0 to 10, 2 frequency, 2 students scored 0 to 10 marks, that is frequency is 2 number. Frequency means number of students or number of any values, 10 to 25 students, 20 to 33 students, 30 to 46, 40 to 54. Total number of students is 20, n is equal to 20. So this is one of the method of calculating the class midpoint, class intervals, then upper class limit and lower class limit. So easily by seeing this you can understand what is class midpoint. Class midpoint is nothing but it is also called as class mark, upper class limit plus lower class limit. By adding the upper class limit and lower class limit and dividing them by the 2, we are going to get the class mark, middlemost values. Then this class interval means you know that interval gap or width between the different values, two values. For example, 0 is there, 10 is there. What is the upper class limit? What is the lower class limit? 0 is the lower class limit, 10 is the upper class limit. What is the width? 0 and 10, width in between the width is, what is the width means, that is the 5. Middle value is 5, thus width is 0 to 10, width is 5. Next is what is class limits. Class limits are nothing but students, two ends of a class are said to be the class limits. Two ends of a class are said to be the class limit, or boundary of the class interval is said to be the class limit. Class limits bounded by the boundaries of the class intervals are also said to be the two ends of a class. Two ends, ENDS, two ends of a class said to be the class limits. So class limit are nothing but two ends of a class. Two ends is nothing but here 0 is there, 0 to 10 is there. Two ends of the class, 0 and 10 are the class limit. So either remaining values, whatever the 0 to 10 remaining values, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let us look at how to calculate the class limit. So 0 is there, class boundary is surrounded by 0 and 10. So in between there are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 values. 9 values lies in between 0 and 10. So these 9 values are bounded by 0 and 10. 0 and 10. It means the values which lies, class interval values lies in between 0 to 10. In between 0 to 10. This is the limit. So in between this limit. So 0 to 10 is there. This 0 and 10 are said to be the class limits. Two ends of a class. Upper class, end of the upper class and end of the lower class. So two ends of a class is said to be the class limits. Class limits are nothing but boundary or two values of the class intervals in the frequency distribution is said to be the class limits. Thus two ends, 0 is one end, 10 is other end. So it is the starting, 0 is the starting number, 10 is the end number. 0 to 10, in between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 values are lies. So for this 0 and 10 are the boundary. Within this boundary 1 to 9 number repeats. So within this 0 and 10 it is a boundary. Within this other remaining values between the 0 and 10 lies. Thus two ends of a class are said to be the class limit in a frequency distribution. Next class we are going to see the remaining parts of the frequency distribution. Thank you for watching this video.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.